because that is what we're going to base our list price on. Our original list price is always going to be based on the FHA as is appraisal. Okay? Then, of course, once we do that, we give it to the local listing broker to list the property on the MLS. Now, after the property is listed, a licensed broker or agent shows the property, such as yourself. Then they, of course, submit a bid if they're interested in it. Then we review the bid for acceptability. And finally, the brokers that have the accepted bids are notified by HUDHomestore.com. And we, as a company, also endeavor to let the folks know that their bid is accepted. Now, if the bid is accepted, here's what happens. The signed sale package with the earnest money deposit is sent back to us, BLB Resources, in our Irvine office within 2 business days. Okay? Keep in mind, Saturday and Sunday are not counted as a business day. So if you have a bid that was accepted Friday, you technically have until Tuesday to submit your contract package. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, the earnest money deposit must be in certified funds, cashier's check, or U.S. postal money order. Here's how the earnest money deposit has to come in. It has to come in these words: HUD or insert buyer's name. Meaning you insert the buyer's name that's purchasing the property. Okay. I've seen a lot of stuff, and I've mentioned this to you guys about once with the check that I saw that actually said HUD or insert buyer's name, which was ridiculous. But here's another one. As we move forward, I learn more, and I see more, and I experience more. So I had an agent contact me, and they're questioning me about how they should do the earnest money deposit. I normally don't answer calls like that. It's only occasionally our operations, but I was happened to be there, and I answered it. And the call I got was interesting. So I kept telling them, you just put it under HUD or you put the buyer's name. And they couldn't understand me. So I said again, I go, okay, HUD or you just enter the buyer, whoever your buyer's name. Let's say it's John Smith, you enter their name, but it has an or there. Well, it still didn't get through to that person. Then I told, okay, him or her, I'm not going to say no. I said, okay, let's use an example. Let's say I'm buying the house. My name is Ray Warda. It's going to be made out to HUD or Ray Warda. So you know what they asked me the next question? So does it have to be made out to you? Okay. Well, if you're going to make it out to me, let's do it good and make it even better. Add a few zeros next to it, you know? But no matter what I tried to do, I couldn't get through that person. But finally, I sent them an email. I asked them what their buyer's name was. So I actually emailed it back to them, and I said, this is how you make the earnest money deposit check payments. So sometimes it's difficult to communicate, but communication is key. No matter how you do it, whether it's written or verbally, whatever, just do it. Be patient. I learned patience is a virtue. Every day we go on. All right, BLB Resources then reviews the package, requests the corrections. If there aren't any needed, and we ratify the contract, we move into closing. Here's what happens after the escrow is closed. Either sale closed at the closing agents or package is emailed out for signatures. Title is then transferred to the new owner. Okay, so that means once it's closed, the title is transferred. That means that the person or the people that are buying cannot move in until the transaction is closed. Until we have public records that it is closed. Not the day they sign the papers. And we've had this recently. I don't know why all of a sudden this is more of an occurrence now lately with a lot of agents and buyers. It wasn't like this in the beginning. Now it's happening more often where people are actually moving in right when they sign. And that does not constitute as a close, folks. So please make sure your buyers do not move in until the actual transaction is closed. The buyer is responsible at the close of escrow to rekey the property. So please make sure that your buyers are rekeying. You know why? Because there's field service managers that have the key to that house. I have the key to that house. Many of you have that key to the house. Whoever else has the key to the house. So it's a liability issue. It's a security issue. Make sure that that's something maybe you can give them as a gift or whatever. Hey, you close a great transaction, I'll rekey your house. Whatever the case may be, just have them rekey at the close of escrow. And then, of course, the day of close of escrow, the local listing broker will remove the signing. So, important notice now. This is as of January 1st. HUD sent us a directive that they want every transaction to close within the 45 days allowed, or 60 days if it's a 203K. It's really important that we move forward this year with that notion of knowing that these transactions are going to be subject to cancel if they do not close within the allotted time. Now, we're going to be very strict on awarding extensions. Previously, we've been awarding them like they were nothing. Well, it's going to be a different story as of this year because this is a HUD directive that came directly from HUD. They're holding us to higher standards with this, so we have to go back and hold everybody else that's involved in the transaction to higher standards. What this means is, of course, if it's a something that is out of your control, if it's something that there's an HOA lien that's not cleared up, termite inspection's not done, lead-based paint we're waiting on. Stuff that's not out of the buyer's control, that's understandable. Extensions will be given at that point. But if it's just an extension because your lender's not ready, well, you know what? You're going to lose your deposit and you're going to have a sale that's canceled. So please make sure. Keep in mind that when you say that the documents are sent out, does not mean that it's closed. So on the 45th day, if the documents are out, does not mean that it's closed. So keep that in mind. We have to try to close these within that 45-day period. If you have an owner-occupant transaction and you have a conditional loan commitment signed by an underwriter, we may grant a one-time extension. So please keep these things in mind when it comes to this. Everybody's being held to higher standards when it comes to closing these. So please keep that in mind. If you do need to make an extension and it is granted, then of course these are the amounts that you're going to be looking at in regards to extension fees. They range from about $10 to $25 a day, depending on the purchase price up there. And this information is also available in the handbook for you guys to refer to. Finance types. Getting into finance types. Okay, there's 3 finance types that HUD has on each property. Okay, that may be on each property. First one I'm going to talk about is insurable. You'll see IN, that's the acronym. Insurable means that it is actually a finance type that does not have any minimum property standard repairs. So that means you can use the normal FHA 203B standard loan, and it means you may qualify for your 203K financing, which is the owner-occupant rehab loan. Then there's a second finance type, which is IE. You'll see this acronym. It stands for Insured with Escrow. This too is a finance type that qualifies for your normal 203B loan, your standard loan, but it has a repair escrow. This repair escrow amount has to be no more than $5,000. So it's $5,000 or less. Okay, so keep that in mind. The repair escrow is the buyer's financial responsibility. So it's important to let them know that the buyers are responsible for this. HUD does not give that as a credit or does not pay that in cash to the buyer at closing. And then of course, if they do not apply for the 203B loan, then it doesn't apply to that anyway because it only works if you're getting a standard 203B financing. Now, the thing is about IN and IE. Both of these have a 30-day owner occupancy exclusivity bidding period, as I mentioned. They both have the first 10 days. The first 10 days of listing these homes, IN or IE, it's called almost like a viewing period, where the buyers get to view these houses, make a decision if they want to move forward and bid. Now, after the 10th day, that's when we look at the first round of bids, which is on the 11th day. The 11th day, we open up all of the bids that came in for the first 10 days, and then we see if there's a winning bidder. If there's a winning bidder, we move to close escrow. If there is no winning bidder, we continue on the bidding, but it becomes a daily bidding deadline at that time. So then bids are reviewed on a daily basis every single day, all the way to the 30th day. Once the 30th day hits, if there are still no winning bidders during those bidding deadlines, then it goes into an extended listing period. Okay, this extended listing period means that it's still going to continue on a daily bidding deadline. However, all bidders are welcome to bid, including investors. Okay, so the first 30 days on these is called the exclusive bidding period. After the exclusive bidding period, after the 30 days, it's called the extended bidding period. So you might see those exclusive and extensive, exclusive and extended on those listings when you go to HUDhomestore.com. Okay, so keep those in mind if you happen to see that. The other finance type that you'll see out there is UI. This is uninsurable. Uninsurable means exactly that, that these properties do not qualify for your standard 203B FHA loan. For whatever reason, they either don't qualify because of the structure itself, or there's something about them that doesn't qualify based on FHA guidelines. Okay? They have more than $5,000 in minimum property standard repairs or some other reason. However, on some of those, you might see that it is eligible for 203K, and it's going to be noted. It's going to say if it's eligible or not. Okay? If it is eligible, you can still get FHA 203K financing on it. If it's not, technically the only option you have is paying cash or conventional, even if that. So keep that in mind. UI has a different bidding period. They have a 5-day owner occupancy exclusivity bidding period. So all UIs, there's a 5-day owner occupancy period, bidding period. After the 5th day, on the 6th day is when we review the first set of bids. So the first 5 days are the viewing period, and then the 6th day we review those bids. If there's a winning bidder, then we move to escrow. If there isn't, then we go on a daily bidding deadline, just like the other one, and then open to all investors and all bidders after the 5th day. Okay? So if you have investors out there, uninsured properties are excellent for investors because they can go ahead and bid after 5-day mark. How are bids submitted? They are submitted. If we need to go on a break or something, please flag me down because I'm not be aware of it. How are bids submitted? They can be submitted through HUDHomestore.com's website. Of course, they have to be have an active name, and the broker and agent must be registered with HUDHomestore.com and must submit the bid by the deadline 11:59 Central Standard Time. That's the deadline time. Bids are accepted based on HUD's guidelines of the minimum threshold allowed on each particular property, and there's the highest net, not the highest offer. And an owner occupant may bid on more than one property, but keep in mind if they do, because they track them through the social security numbers of the bidder, only one property